We just wrote this banging melody off the dome in 5 minutes, and it's all because of JavaScript. What if I told you that the secret to writing your next great melody lie not in Ableton or FL Studio, but in VS Code? I've become a software engineer, that's where I've been the last year or so, and I have discovered that the logic behind writing efficient code is actually very transferable to crafting exquisite music. It all starts with this one simple idea, and that is songs are just objects. So in programming, there's a concept known as objects. Objects are data structures that organize information in key value pairs. Think of a dictionary where each word, which would be the key, has a definition, the value. In JavaScript, these pairs are enclosed in curly braces and might look something like this. So here's some details about myself. Name would be a key, Dean would be a value. Age, key, 25 value. Occupation, key, software engineer value. Now, imagine applying this concept to music. A song can be visualized as an object that has many key value pairs. Baby Justin Bieber, fantastic song. It has a song name is a key, Baby's the value. Has an artist, Justin Bieber is the value. Has a featured artist, Ludacris, etc., etc. Key, chord progression, time signature. These can all be represented as key value pairs. In software development, it's really easy to automate mundane tasks. This frees up our mental bandwidth and allows us to tackle more challenging problems. It's very common to write simple functions that are reused all over the code base, something like this. This is a function that will capitalize the first letter of a word. So you give it a word and it will return the capitalized version of the word. In code, we automate low priority tasks so we can focus on high important tasks. We can do the exact same thing in music. In the classic book Atomic Habits, James Clear discusses a topic called addition by subtraction. And I quote, "The Japanese companies looked for every point of friction in the manufacturing process and eliminated it. As they subtracted wasted effort, they added customers and revenue. Similarly, when we remove the points of friction that sap our time and energy, we can achieve more with less effort." This idea ties in perfectly with Pareto's principle. Pareto's principle means that 20% of your inputs generate 80% of your outputs. A few examples: 20% of beer drinkers drink 80% of the beer. 20% of the people who commit crimes commit 80% of the crimes. 20% of producers get 80% of the placements, although I would think that this is even more skewed. In the context of music production, Pareto's principle highlights that some inputs matter a lot more than others, and here's how I categorize them. You have many low important inputs: tempo, chords, scales, instruments. These can be automated, they can be decided before you write any music. And there are a few high importance inputs we can't or we shouldn't automate, things like melody, timing, dynamic, emotion. I'm gonna get real about chord progressions here. It's something that took me a really long time to realize, and that's chord progressions, tempo, instruments, they really do not matter. By this, I mean as long as you're selecting from a pool of high quality chord progressions, tempos, etc., you can get away with automating these things before you write any music. Melodies are different. Melodies are unique, hopefully, and more importantly, they can be copyrighted. Due to this, we want to put as much focus as we can on melody and dynamics and forget about everything else. Our brains can only process a certain amount of information at a time. When you think about everything that goes into guitar loop writing, melody writing, music production, there are dozens of small decisions we have to make. What should our file be named? We have to rename a bunch of tracks. We have to press record. There are dozens, maybe hundreds of these little decisions we have to make every time we write music, and that is incredibly taxing. I've stopped doing all that nonsense. Before I even touch my guitar, I will decide on tempo, key, and chord progression. This streamlines the process of writing banging melodies. I'll even automate stuff as silly as coming up with names. And now a demo. I built this little tool that will allow me to choose chords, keys, and tempos before I write any music. Let's do pop punk. Do 1-5-6-4. E major, 120 is good for a tempo. It'll tell me what chords to play. It will come up with a name and perfectly format my loop for me. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it here. We already got the name perfectly formatted. Chords I'm going to lay down first. We have E major, B, C sharp minor, and A. Let's get it. That's down. Let's come up with a riff. Okay, we got it already. Let's throw it down. but that was close enough. Improvise melodies and counter melodies. I turn the metronome off. I find it easier. That up a little bit. Alright, we got the melody already. All we need is a counter melody. We're like 4 minutes in. See how fast this is? Close. Oh, that's fire. I got it. Okay, we got our loop. That's literally 5 minutes off the dome, start to finish. So to recap, songs, beats, loops, they're just objects with key value pairs. Some of these key value pairs matter more than others. We can automate low priority key value pairs by pre-selecting them before we write any music. This allows us to put all of our energy into the things that truly matter, like melody dynamics. If you follow these guidelines, not only will your melodies be crazy, you'll do it in a fraction of the time. But I will say it's important to have fun while you're doing this. I don't do this every time I write music. I just do it when I want to be fast.